Hello, San Diego. Have you ever struggled? Have you ever lost your footing? Do you remember how it felt to suddenly lose a job, or even worse, a loved one? I'm a 15-year Navy veteran with combat tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I knew that on any given day, more than 20 of us were dying from suicide. Why was I losing more friends to suicide than to bombs and bullets overseas? When you're in the military, you're part of America's suit of armor. In this purpose-driven tapestry, each of us knows what is expected and what to expect from others. But when your service ends, you're suddenly ripped out of this fabric and thrown away. Alone, adrift, without a mission. You go from being somebody to nobody. The sudden lack of income, purpose, and identity are overwhelming, and you've never been trained or equipped for this new set of challenges. When I came back from my first tour in Iraq, many of my injured Marines convalescing at National Naval Medical Center would gather in my garage to tinker with tools and pass the time. Spending time together made me realize how worried these combat veterans were about the scariest thing they had ever encountered: their imminent transition to civilian life. Our numbers grew, and soon my garage became crowded with Marines, welding, machining, fabricating, the underpinnings of manufacturing. But this was just a diversion. I needed to find a long-term solution to the veteran crisis, as well as another looming challenge. While we were distracted in not one, but two wars, China overtook America to become the #1 manufacturing nation in the world. Manufacturing dominance had long been America's economic and military's backbone. But now, it was no longer our superpower. I began to wonder, could retraining our veterans give America her manufacturing and economic prowess back? What if we could give every honorably discharged veteran an opportunity to rebuild America's manufacturing workforce, to lead a dignified life, to have a chance at the American dream? It sounds great, right? Yeah, I just didn't know how. But in 2006, I had a life-changing epiphany that has driven my life ever since. I was in a mall when I heard a familiar voice cry out, "Doc!" And I turned to see one of the Marines I served with in Iraq coming towards me. But then he told me he lost both of his legs to an improvised explosive device. I remember his dreams of being a Marine Corps lifer. And as he wheeled away from me, I was devastated. Not just for him, but because he represented the lost dreams and aspirations of all of my Marines. My knees melted, and I sank to the floor. And I reached up and grabbed my wife Rachel's arm and said, "We are going to sell everything we have and do something." No. And to Rachel's eternal credit, she said yes. Thank you, baby. Thank you. We sold our home, our vehicles, and cashed in our retirement to create an advanced manufacturing training center so that our veterans could be trained for a viable future. We named it Workshops for Warriors. We are the only nonprofit school in the U.S. dedicated to training and placing veterans and transitioning service members into welding, fabrication, CNC machining, 3D printing, computer-aided design, and robotic careers. our veterans earn nationally recognized credentials that are portable, stackable, and STEM certified. But I'm married to a statistician, so here are just the facts. All right. We have graduated 1,125 veterans. Who have earned 13,000 nationally recognized credentials. Our school has grown 350 times our original footprint in San Diego, and we are poised to expand nationally. We have a 94% average placement rate for our graduates, and our graduates are now in every state of our nation in advanced manufacturing careers with companies like Boeing, SpaceX, Caterpillar. You know why? Because compressed training for veterans works. And training our veterans can quickly solve our nation's manufacturing crisis while giving veterans an opportunity to serve their nation once again. This is how we are making veterans America's force multiplier. Let me share one of our success stories with you. Craig was living in his car with his 2-year-old son, Kane. Out of gas, $2 in his wallet, nowhere to go. This honorably discharged Navy veteran was homeless, desperate, and losing hope. But that all changed when he called us. When he walked through our doors, he found hope. A donor right there provided a scholarship which gave Craig housing, tuition, and a stipend for food and childcare. And after completing our 16-week accelerated and accredited manufacturing training program, Craig was offered a full-time position at a manufacturing company in Alabama, making $60,000 a year. Thank you. And for Craig, that means that he bought his first home after graduating from our program. And his son Kane now sleeps in a real bed for the first time in his life. Isn't that great? More than 1,100 veterans, like Craig, now have income to provide for their families. More than 1,100 veterans are now building up our nation instead of tearing themselves and their communities down through homelessness, suicide, and unemployment. Like Craig, our graduates become the advanced manufacturing workers our nation needs to rebuild our infrastructure and defense while paving the way for a brighter future for all of us. So what's the problem? Right? After coming out of the longest wars in our nation's history, we were shocked. The nation that created Henry Ford couldn't make vehicles. The nation that created the world's most advanced computers couldn't manufacture microchips. The nation that created the Salk vaccine to cure polio couldn't produce our own medications or personal protective equipment. Do you remember that? For the first time in our nation's history, America had to rely on other nations for our physical safety and well-being due to our lack of a manufacturing base. America, this is our wake-up call. Now is the time for vision and decisive action. This is America's opportunity for a new deal. In January 2023, Deloitte confirmed that America had 803,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs due to lack of skilled labor, rising to more than 2.1 million unfilled manufacturing jobs by 2030. This is a challenge that can be solved by training our veterans. Right? The majority of industrialized nations have nationally subsidized manufacturing and vocational training programs, except America. Now imagine accelerated manufacturing training programs that quickly transform them, the service members transitioning out of our military to become the greatest manufacturing force the world has ever known. That millions of competent, committed, and proven Americans trained for war could be retrained for a new purpose. That America could be a lighthouse again, providing a beacon for other nations to follow us into a future of greatness. That 100 years from now, the world will know that San Diego was the birthplace for America's manufacturing renaissance. Join me. Let's retrain our veterans to make America the world's manufacturing superpower once again. Hoo-yah!